Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. How you all doing? Hope you guys are well. Let's wait for somebody to come online while I get my laptop ready. There's nobody. I'm on my own. Gotta check the time. It is 4 o'clock, just after 4 o'clock. Hi Gary, how you doing, buddy? Hi Philip. Hi EF Production. We've got Guardiola. Hi Bolito, how you doing, mate? Hope you well, Gary. Cheddar, how you doing? Hi Kiam, how you doing, buddy? Abhishek, I'm great, mate. I'm great. You're on the train, Gary. Are you off anywhere nice or coming back from anywhere nice? That's Mind and Motion. Hi, how you doing, buddy? And Cheddar, South Sudan. Hi, King Ark. Today about 45 minutes. I've got to take my kids to the gym. My kids are doing what they're doing tonight. Judo and Jiu-Jitsu. Albert, don't worry about FFP, buddy. Don't worry. Hopefully you're gonna go and put your feet up. Gary, long day, yeah. Albert, don't worry about FFP, buddy. Don't worry at all. Not to worry about yet. Mringank Shah, how you doing? So I'll let you know what we're going to talk about today. Here's my program, my agenda. Okay, we're going to talk about FFP. And that City going to CAS, Court for Arbitration for Sport. Hi, Bloomin', how you doing? Yeah, we've seen the pictures of the kit. Hi, Tom. Yeah, Liverpool fans, ignore them, Gary. You see the England trouble with over in Portugal. There's a guy there with his Mo Salah top on. Idiots. Signing of James at United. Look, United are desperate. They're going to throw money at it again this season. He's a decent player. He's got pace. He doesn't seem to. I don't think he's a great dribbler and using skill to get past people. He's got pace, and that's why that's what he's using. Chada, that was me. Don't worry, buddy. That was me arguing. I wasn't arguing with those Arsenal fans. That was the first game of the season. Those Arsenal fans were absolute plonkers. Just going to make a note of the Community Shield. An extra talking point. So let me... Hi, Mike. How you doing, buddy? Hi, mysterious person. You're on. Mike is on holiday in Bali and he's from Australia. Mirgan's been bored of Liverpool fans. Okay, let's go through what we're going to talk about. So yes, I'm going to talk about the FFP investigation and the fact that City have gone to the Court for Arbitration for Sport already. We'll have a quick mention of the kits. Nothing big surprises there. The mention that City are targeting homegrown players. Talk about Sterling. What Sky have done again, it's at least the third time, and the fact that Sterling will be England captain tonight. We'll talk about Danilo, we'll talk about Jesus, Matt mentioned Bernardo, and we'll talk about the rumoured date for the Community Shield, which is, it's going to be daft. And if we've got enough time, we'll talk about this proposed changes to the Champions League, which was proposed, I think, back in, or the rumours were, leaks came out in April. And there's been some, comments about it recently, so we'll talk about that as well. So let's have a quick look at your comments. Arsenal posh boys. Those guys were deluded at Arsenal. They had no idea, they had no idea about City's history or anything. Yeah, Gary, I had no idea that it was going to go for me, that went viral. I mean, I can't remember, 40, 50,000 views. It's a shame it wasn't on our station. Don't worry about it, mysterious person. Yeah, Blue Moon says Maguire wants to move. Well, best team in the land, aren't we? Don't worry about English Mastiff. Nobody really knows about the law. The kit I'm wearing, this I got a couple of years ago. It's a training kit. So I think that season I bought 3. I think there were 4 training kits going about that season. And I got this one. I got a blue and black one. I think I got another one. There was another blue and white one, and another one. I can't remember what that was now. I mean, to be honest, you guys probably. I've said it before. I've got well over 60 training tops, kits, tracksuit tops, or jackets, or coats, or polo shirts from Man City. Over 60. I had so many. I actually started giving them away to charity when they were sending them abroad to kids in Africa or wherever, poor countries. So I was giving shirts away to them. So I do know some of my old shirts ended up with kids in Turkey and Syria, stuff like that. And I've actually seen a picture recently of a kid wearing one of my. It was a shirt I donated to my niece, I think, and then about 7 or 8, 10 years ago, and she's giving it away to charity. So yeah, I've seen a picture of a kid in Syria or Turkey wearing this Man City top. It's fantastic. Hi Marshall, how you doing, buddy? Hey, David Silva. I don't think you're the real David Silva. Okay. Should we do some chatting? Hi, I'll just check your name. Is that Ben? Just waiting to come through on my laptop so I can see it slightly better. Beninism. Harv, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, Harv? There's none of these shirts left, mate. These shirts are gone, Actually, this is quite filthy. I don't know why. They get dirty quite easily. I've got loads of stuff. But I do give stuff away. I mean, next season, I said I might, I haven't confirmed this, give away. I've got a jacket, a blue jacket signed by Mike Summerby, buzzer, one of our top players from the late 60s. And he's a big City ambassador these days. And I got it signed from him. I've never worn it. I actually bought a few of them at the time. I give them away as prizes when I was living in France in my badminton competition when I used to teach badminton over there. That's a very long messy. Wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker. Do you believe we should give the young players a chance instead of spending a lot of money? Yeah, they'll come. The kids will come through at some point. Okay. Guys, let's go through the agenda. So, number 1 on the agenda, FFP, the FFP investigation. Okay, it was Rob Harris, the lovely Rob Harris. The guy's credibility seems to be dropping day by day, Rob Harris. Now, he works for the Associated Press and AP, and apparently it's been rumoured that City are going to CAS, the Court for Arbitration for Sport, even before the investigation is completed by UEFA, to appeal. I mean, before it's even been the investigation's been completed or the any hint of a sentence, City are already there appealing. Now, I believe it's just to get in there first, kind of. I mean, it's going to end up at more than likely at CAS, and City are appealing it. Apparently, I mean, you can argue on a technicality. Now, could this get thrown out on a technicality? Who knows? There's been a couple of cases recently that have been thrown out on technicalities. I think PSG had one thrown out because UEFA were too late in doing their appeal. And I think, was it Galatasaray? Definitely Galatasaray had one, and somebody else. So it could be that on a technicality that they didn't complete the investigations properly or whatever, the case is thrown out. Now, I don't know. I mean, that kind of makes me feel that UEFA are simply allowing get out for City because they don't want City to take them to court at the end of the day. So this is a way that UEFA say, yes, we wanted to do something, but we did procedurally we did something wrong and we couldn't do anything. So It's going to be very, very interesting. Let's have a look at a couple of your questions. David wants to get on with it. I am. So fingers crossed. Oh, there's been some movement then anyway on FFP. So hopefully there's going to, within the next week or two, we'll get, more and more information will come out. I mean, a lot of information has been leaked, which is, it's wrong from the UEFA side. It's coming from their side. I don't think it's coming from City's side that this information is being leaked. But at the end of the day, you just don't know what's going on these days. Now, if there's a problem with FFP, if UEFA want to ban us for a season, I really can't see it coming in this season because it's going to be tied up with CAS for months. The draw for the preliminary stage of the Champions League is on the 11th of June, and the first matches are on, I think, sometime in early July, and then I think the first Champions League group games will be probably in September time. So there isn't a lot of time, and these cases can take months to go through CAS. So I can't see UEFA, even if they wanted to ban us and we ended up with a ban, it coming through this season, it'd be the season after. So that's FFP, and there's nothing to worry about. And I will say this about FFP, just let me have a quick drink. People are worried about FFP. Now, the comments I made about JSGC yesterday, that's another YouTube channel. I think he supports Preston. Right, I know he does videos for Preston. And people do videos for City as well because City have got, you can make a little bit of money out of City if you do some content for them, as people do. Now, people are just copying and regurgitating what they see in the media. And he made a point where they talked about FFP and they talked about the João Felix's release clause, and that City exercised it for FFP reasons. That's what the media said. He just regurgitated the same information. Well, I'll let you into a secret, guys. FFP is not a big issue for City right now. We're comfortable. We made a 10 million profit last season. The money, and I said yesterday, I think on Andy's log, that City could, if they wanted to, spend £300 million, and I don't think it's an issue for FFP. And we could possibly do that without selling any players. And let me explain. The main thing about the way FFP works is when you buy players, okay, they don't hit your profit and loss account. So they're looking at your profit and loss account. They don't hit your profit and loss account the moment you buy those players. You look at their contracts and you amortize them. It's like depreciation. And you allocate an equal proportion over the length of their contract. The example I'll give you, if you buy a player for £100 million and put him on a 5-year contract, only 20 million each season hits your profit and loss account. Not the full 100, okay? You might have to pay the full 100, but FFP is interested in your profit and loss account, which is why on the balance sheet United get away with this £500 million worth of debt or whatever, and no one's bothered because they focus on your profit and loss account. So if we spent £300 million on players, their amortization, if they're all on 5-year contracts, would be £60 million for all those players. Obviously, there's some wages involved as well. That might take us up to 80 or 90 million in total per season. But we'll sell a few players. That'll help. And also, if you look at the Puma deal that we've just that we announced, hasn't been, the numbers haven't been announced, but obviously we're going with Puma. That Puma deal is what, 65 million quid a year. City will get 55 million, and some of the other group clubs will get some from the City Football Group. So we'll get probably the best part of 40, 45, even 50 million pounds more than we did from Nike. That's almost half what we need if we spend 300 million pounds on new players per season. We're also getting more money from the TV deals, and I think we get a little bit more money from the contract for the Champions League, and we're going to get more money as well from the overseas Premier League deal. And I can't remember the numbers on that, but all these extra bits of money here and there and other sponsorships and everything else is going to be bringing in an extra probably 70, 80, 90 million pounds a year. So if we do spend 300 million pounds on players and pay them, that doesn't increase our expenses for FFP purposes by that amount. So we're comfortable. There's nothing to worry about, guys. If the problem is with a lot of the media and other people are just copying what they've seen. So many media outlets have copied this comment. And JSGC did the same. I know there's many of them have just said, we've exercised the clause, or we've pressed on the button on this release clause because of FFP. It's got nothing to do with FFP. That's totally false. And anybody who says anything different doesn't know what they're talking about. Take it from me. I used to be an accountant. I'm still a qualified accountant. So, City trying to knock it back on a technicality that these emails were stolen. Then, anybody who's like Rob Harris says they're leaked. They're not leaked. Okay, leaked would imply that someone let them out. Well, probably the emails were between two people, one person and another person. The person sending it, the person receiving it. Now, unless one of them's leaked it, I suspect they haven't given their permission. Okay, for these to be released. They've been stolen, hacked, whatever way they've been done without permission. And who knows if they've been altered. I mean, Der Spiegel has, I won't say a big history, but they've got a history of falsifying reports. I mean, there's that reporter in America who for years was falsifying reports and he eventually got caught. So, excuse me. So you can't believe everything you read. So anybody who says they're leaked, they lose credibility with me. Anybody says we're going for Felix because of FFP, they lose credibility straight away, and I'm not really interested in what they've got to say. Sorry guys, I've not really been answering your comments, but Muckland, FFP is manure, absolutely. English Massive, FFP is UEFA, not FIFA. FIFA have got nothing to do with FFP. And I had somebody yesterday talking about FFP and saying QPR failed. Well, listen, hang on a minute, mate. There's two lots of FFP. You've got FFP from UEFA and you've got FFP in England. So the Premier League have got their own FFP, which is so wide. Basically, you can, no one's gonna. It's very hard to fail the Premier League's FFP. The Championship have got their own, the Football League have got their own FFP. So when QPR failed, they failed the Championships, the Football League's FFP, not UEFA's, because they were not in UEFA competition. So there's two different things, but you can have more losses, basically, I think, with the Premier League's FFP than you can with UEFA. So read a couple more comments, and then I'll carry on with my points. I'll talk about the kits then. A few of you talking about the kits. Bernardson, don't care about the kits. Puma have backed us with money. There's plenty of replica training tops to buy if you don't like the 3 kits. Absolutely, Bernard. There's going to be 3 kits. There's going to be a plethora of training tops, at least 3, 4. There's going to be tracky tops. I mean, it's a huge, huge business now. So this probably you'll find something that you'll like. I mean, I used to buy 3 kits every season and training tops as well. But I've stopped buying so many because in the last few years, they haven't been that nice. But having said that, each season I've bought at least one. I think a couple of years ago I bought an Aguero top, or the blue one. Last season I bought, I bought also an away kit for Gabby Jesus, and I got a Leroy Sané one as well. But last season I didn't like the home kit really. I bought the David Silva kit for the away strip, which I quite liked. This year, well, we've seen lots of leaked kits. You don't know what to believe. The recent one that we've seen is apparently leaked from Ireland in a shop. Are they credible? Well, we're getting close to the date, and there's more and more of the same. It's the same kit that has already been seen somewhere else. And the away kit has yellow stripes on the shoulder. Not really keen on that. Light blue trim on the sleeve. I'm not really keen on all those gaudy colours where so many of them. The third kit, if you've seen that, that's yellow up to about here, and then orange. It's a yellow and orange affair. I'm not massively keen on that. I'm not sure I'm going to be buying a kit this season. If they put out a load of junk, hopefully there'll be a training kit or something nice to wear, or I'll be wearing last year's kit. But they are very expensive. I think it'd be nice if the kits were pleasant and pleasing and whatever, because they're so expensive. I don't want to buy and that's why I stopped buying. I don't want to buy a load of junk and spend 80, 90, 100 quid on that. Bernardo, we'll talk about Bernardo and Jesus. Bernardo was very good yesterday in Portugal's winning the Nations League, with that assist for Cristiano Ronaldo, who's 33, 34 years old, and He's got a hat-trick, and he's got, was it 87 goals for Portugal now, over 40 more than the next best Portuguese goal scorer. So Bernardo Silva, I'm really looking forward to his next season. We'll mention Jesus, because Jesus scored a very nice goal for Brazil yesterday. I think Richarlison scored the other one in Brazil's 2-0 friendly win against Qatar. I think Neymar got injured with some ligament injuries, so he's out of the Copa America. And talk about Sterling. Sterling is going to be apparently captain tonight. He's going to be captain of England, unless there's a double bluff going on. But that was leaked, and that was stupid. I've got to say this, because it gives, we've kind of felt that Harry Kane wouldn't start, but it's like he's been. It was leaked by I think Sterling's PR company. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Sterling, if he's captain, if he was told by Gareth Southgate that he's captain, he shouldn't be telling anybody. It's certainly not his PR company who have released the information. And apparently, according to rumours, Sterling is very angry about this. And obviously, he's had to go and apologise to Gareth Southgate. It's not the best, because obviously straight away, Holland know that Harry Kane won't be starting the game. If Harry Kane was starting, he'd be captain. So they know if Sterling is captain, then Harry Kane isn't going to start the game. So that's a worry. There's another thing about Sterling that I'm going to mention is the Sky. You might have seen the picture today from Sky when they had a caption under Sterling, and they said England and Liverpool player. I mean, how many times does Sky want to get things wrong? I think last season they said Laporte was a Liverpool player when they were talking about the team of the season. They had a caption up there, Laporte, a Liverpool player. And Sky have done this before. I think this is the third time they've done this about Sterling, which it is, you can't argue that it's poor quality. It still feels that they can't really go after Sterling really the way they used to. Sorry, I'm just going to charge my phone. The way they used to go after Sterling, and the Murdoch group and with Son and everything else. So it feels like they're having to be more subtle with their, they'll say, oh, it's someone's mistake. It's not a genuine mistake. If you add a word to a sentence, if you remember, they had that Sterling statement, and they added a word at the end to give it a whole different meaning. How can you add a word at the end? It's if you dropped a word and you say it was a mistake with cut and paste, okay, you can argue that was negligent and poor form and whatever. Okay, but yeah, you can argue it was a mistake. But to add a word on, that's not a mistake. Okay, let's have a quick read of your messages. Yeah, Merlin Spur, Sky Sports are a joke. Tom T says, I think he will be the captain as Henderson and Kane are on the bench, I believe. Yeah, I think that's what we've heard. Stephen Paul Dempster, Puma kits, stick to your body. So if you're large, you'll need to get extra large. Absolutely, Stephen. When I started buying a lot of kits, I was a medium. Now I'm on a large. I think with Puma, I'm going to have to be extra large because they're tight. They're tight as anything. I said I would lose some weight, but sadly, I've put a load of weight on in the last few months. So there's no chance. I might be extra large. Yeah, it's Kiam. Yeah, I mean, you could be right. Are we going to spend 100 million on an unproven 19-year-old? He's proven it for one season. He's had a good season. Agent can easily be playing games to push up and make sure someone hits that release clause, hits the money that the agent wants for their own back pocket, hits the salary that João Felix wants. I mean, if you say City are really interested, maybe that will make United pay the alleged 106 million pounds release clause. Maybe United will say, we'll pay you 20 million to the agent. Maybe United will say, we'll pay you 300 grand a week, João Felix, and he'll go there. It's an easy thing to do for agents is to say somebody's interested. It puts up the price, puts up the wages, puts up the commission, and everyone's a winner. So mentioning City, is just to most of the time it's just a way to make money for somebody. Yeah, exactly, Bernard. I saw that as well. So Sky, when they had the trophies on that graphic, had Spurs at 17, omitted City totally. Stephen says Felix is not worth 50 million. Look, end of the day, I look at what Pep's done in the last 2 seasons, especially, and I says, you know, if he said to me now, I'm going to get Andy Carroll. If Pep said I'm going to get Andy Carroll and play him up front, I'd trust Pep. I'd trust Pep because you can't deny that, you know, what he's done, what he's achieved, how he's transformed players, how he's improved players, how he's picked some good players. You know, I trust Pep. You got to trust Pep. Okay, next. So let's talk about Danilo. So it's been rumoured that Inter have bid £13 million for Danilo and City have turned it down. That's absolutely rubbish money. If Inter are offering 13 million for Danilo, that's trying to steal him. I think we paid about double, 26, 27 million pounds for Danilo, and he's worth every single penny of that 26, 27 million pounds. For me, his only issue is had some injuries, but last season, I thought he was great last season. And when he came back from injury, I think he had one poor game, and he's so versatile. He can play left back, he can play right back, he can play centre back, he can play defensive midfield. So there's 4 positions he can play, and to have such a utility player, I think, is really, really important. So I don't want Danilo to leave, absolutely not. And if he does go, it's got to be north of 20 million quid. Hi, Blue Heart. Oh, we talked about that at the start, Blue Heart, about City's move against UEFA. Look, there's going to be a big dust-up. I said it could easily be that UEFA have set themselves up to lose on a technicality so that no one loses. They get a little bit of egg on the face, but they don't get turned over by City. And I feel that UEFA have kind of been press ganged into this by other clubs, other leagues, into this investigation and trying to mete out a penalty for City. And this is a way that everybody can walk away from it. City can walk away with a bit of mud on them. UEFA can walk away with a bit of egg on the face, and nothing else comes out in the open. We'll see. It'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, Ian Wilkinson, Danilo is quality. You know, as I said, last season when he played right back, he was better than Kyle Walker. I had no problems with that. No problems with Danilo playing left back or centre back or defensive midfield. You can argue, yeah, Abhishek, he's not a first team player, but as a squad player, as a backup, he's top draw. And you can't argue against that. Yeah, David, Bayern, Der Spiegel, yeah, Munich, yeah. I mean, a lot of it's coming from there, but it's from many sources. You've got the Senor Tebas in Spain with his diatribes, rubbish that comes out of his mouth. You've got, clubs in England like Liverpool and United and everybody basically, some of the old guard like Arsenal and Chelsea, because City have firmly planted themselves in the top 4. We're not going to disappear anytime soon. Liverpool are up there. There's very few spots for the other 4 clubs. There's very few spots, and they can also see other clubs catching them up. So it's really worrying for them, and if they can find a way for City not to be in the Champions League, it's great for the other clubs in England. And talking about the Champions League, back in April there was a rumour that UEFA from 2024 wanted pretty much a closed shop. They were going to have the Champions League was going to have 24 teams that would always be there, and then the other 8 teams would have to qualify to get there. And it was pretty much a closed shop. So those 24 teams were just going to be guaranteed money every single season. And that seems really unfair. That's more like an American model. And that's, we're not having proper... You should really achieve something to be in the... it's already bad enough that in the Champions League, you can have teams that weren't champions. Liverpool won the league, Champions League last season. Where did they finish? 3rd or 4th in the Premier League? So, that's... It shouldn't be called the Champions League. And the whole reason for it is these big clubs want, more money, basically. They want to be guaranteed more money, even if they're mediocre. And UEFA are worried that these teams might walk away and form a breakaway Super League without UEFA. So all the people on the UEFA gravy train don't get any part of that gravy train, and there's not much left for them. So, Well, I was going to say this. FA Premier League have said they will not support this kind of Super League or this closed shop. And Germany, it's come from Germany as well. So that was my point for today. It's been mentioned by the FA and in Germany that they will veto this model where teams can just stay in there forever. And I suspect it's coming. A lot of it's coming from Italy, from AC Milan, Inter Milan. Those clubs that were historically powerful and are struggling now. So they're some of the clubs that wanted FFP, and now they got investors that FFP's hindering them, and they're just trying to look at ways to make more money. And I do remember an interview, if you can go back and check this out, from I think 2013 or 2014, Martin Samuel with Michel Platini. And Michel Platini admitted that some of the owners in Italy were saying we can't keep spending more and more money because they had to spend more and more money to compete, and they just didn't have it. And so they were asking for FFP or a way to stop this phenomenal increase in spending, which hasn't abated, to be quite honest. But those are what some of the initial people to want FFP, as well as other clubs who wanted to safeguard their status quo. So, this European Super League, it might happen, it might not. But the point from today is that Germany and England have said, we're going to veto this. My last point, I've got 2 points. So I'm going to keep going through my agenda, and then we'll have 10 minutes of your questions. So apparently City are targeting homegrown players to help with our Champions League quota, let's say, our team. I mean, we've got 17 non-homegrown players already. With company going, obviously opened up a space. And if Delph leaves, we'll have 3 non-homegrown players. Of younger players under 21, people like Foden, they don't count in the squad lists anyway. So, that's one of the rumours in the papers. That's why one of the reasons we're after Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, even the talk of Ben Chilwell. But so as usual, it's all rumour and conjecture. One other point I want to mention is the Community Shield. Now that's all rumour again. That's going to be on Thursday, the 1st of August. I really can't believe that. It feels like it's April Fool's Day again and again and again. I can't believe they're going to have a Community Shield on the 1st of August, because they're already struggling to sell tickets. And if you put it on a Thursday, I can't see you selling more tickets. I think you sell fewer tickets. The bet, they should move the Community Shield somewhere like Villa Park and sell 50,000 tickets and be happy with that. It's a shame it's in London, but if it's on a weekend, I can see myself going, unless I'm working. And actually on the 1st of August, I actually will be doing some charity work set up for that. So guys, that's my agenda, our agenda. Let's see what some of your questions. So, Kiam, I would love for an honest journalist to actually dig into these cartel clubs and their shady dealings. The problem is, when someone digs a little bit, people try to discredit them. Look what happened to Rabin and a few other City supporting accounts on Twitter. When we poke at some of the journalists out there who are criticising City, some of them fire back and they're abusive. Some of them are rude. Some of them just block you, because they don't want your facts and questions blocking their agenda. They've got agenda. People like Rob Harris, was it Rob Delaney, Nick Harris, even our good friend Slaphead Duncan Castles. They've all got agendas. Matthew Syed, so many of them have got agendas. And they don't want you to. They don't like people to put up good arguments against them. The funny thing is, they attack the person who's putting forward the articles. They look for somewhere to attack them rather than answering simple questions about their integrity, about their credibility. And so many of these people, journalists, they have zero credibility with me. The journalists that will not criticise their colleagues who have been guilty of writing prejudiced articles, racist articles. Let's call them for what they are, racist articles about Raheem Sterling for 3 or 4 seasons, okay, 3 or 4 years. Nobody's criticised them. Why haven't journalists come out and criticised their colleagues? Yeah? Why haven't they done it? Because they don't want to attack their own. But they're very happy to come and criticise City fans for supporting City and said, your owners are bad, you are bad because you still support them. Well, hang on, journalists, okay? Your colleagues have been writing these racist articles and you've not criticised them. Why is that? Why haven't, yeah, exactly. Section 20. They protect themselves. You can hear that. I can't remember that guy who writes for a Russian channel who came out and tried to get some other journalists to come and support him, and not a single one from what I saw. Nobody bothered to support him. I mean, the guy's a loser. He's just out there on a blocking spree right now. So let's have a look what Keem said. Yeah, Section 20. Rabin's Twitter post tore them to pieces and they couldn't handle it. So they criticised him. They had their digs at him. But, pretty much all the same. I had a bash about 10 days ago with Barry Glendenning. And, I think someone said the guy must have been bladdered because, he was absolutely pathetic and he wasn't much of an adversary, I'll be quite honest with you. And neither, most of them. When you question them, there's a report about Qatar, and I questioned the validity of that report. There's something about UAE, I can't remember if it was UAE or Qatar, about a report about the construction deaths. And I questioned that because it had been questioned in other places. Without going too much into the politics, but they said there were 9 deaths or something out of in Qatar, out of how many people. Now, the thing is, in construction, they don't want to include just the stadium construction, not include all construction, okay? But they point at the World Cup and said there were 9 deaths. And then apparently the Indians said, well, because a lot of the workers coming from India and Nepal, and they said, well, we'd expect more. If they're working in India, we'd expect more. If they're working in Nepal, we'd expect more per that population. And you got to compare it with what is normal. They were including deaths of people, however they died. If you had a heart attack because you had a congenital heart problem, well, that for them was a construction death. But you had a heart attack because you had a bad heart, construction death. So, you've got to be careful about the reports that you read. Things can easily be manipulated. And, what they need to do is compare that with, for argument's sake, the deaths per 1,000 of construction workers in the UK. Or in the US, or in other Western countries. Compare that with other developing countries. Is it out of kilter? And was it Nick? I forgot his name now. Nick. I forgot his surname. There's just too many of them. He was arguing with a lawyer, with a famous lawyer, and who knew his stuff. And the guy just turned around and said, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Well, the guy. From his responses, certainly did know what he's talking about. And then all he could say was, "You're wrong." That's it. All he could say was, "You're wrong," and he couldn't really back up his argument. And that happens time and time again. They pick on a lot of the journalists pick on easy targets. You abuse them, they say, "Oh, look what these guys are abusing us." You come at them with good, solid points that they can't handle and they can't debate with you. They block you, or they go off on a tangent, or they criticise you, or they try to attack you. I've had it with Duncan. Duncan Castles tried to attack me as a person. I had Barry Glendenning. He tried to attack me as a person because I criticised him for working for an organisation that hacked the voicemail of a dead girl, because he works for the murder organisation working for TalkSport, who are part of the same organisation as the News of the World and the Sun. The defunct News of the World, because they went out of business, because it was easier to shut them off because you can see all the bad eggs were there. And I questioned him, and he tried to have a go at me and said, "Do you watch Sky?" I said, "No, I don't." He said, "But you must watch Sky." He asked me if I had a subscription, and I said, "No, I don't. I don't have a Sky subscription. I cancelled that a few years ago." And then he said, "But you must watch Sky." I said, "No, I don't. I don't watch Sky." So he's attacking me. He's trying to find a weakness in me rather than my argument. And Duncan tried the same, and I said, Duncan said, you can work for a bad owner, you just don't have to agree with them. Hi, Brian, we're just about to finish, mate. Sorry, buddy. And I said, and he tried to have a go at me, and I said, look, he tried to attack my credibility from the argument I put to him. And I said, look, mate, I've left a job. I resigned because of who was above me, because of the situation there. I was working a particular job. I had to be independent, and I had somebody high up trying to put the finger on me and basically get me to do what they wanted. And I just decided, to leave. It's a good time to leave as well, but I decided to leave rather than stick around and be a yes man, because that's what they wanted. And the job I had, it was a good job, public sector, loads of holiday, good pension if I stuck around. But I decided I couldn't stick around because my integrity, my independence would be questioned, and I didn't want to be a yes man, so I left. So after that, Duncan Castles left me alone because he couldn't attack me on my credibility, my integrity. So he just thought, because at the time he thought it's an easy win. That's what the journalists do. They think it's an easy win. They take you on. When they find out it isn't, they either block you, ignore you, or don't answer questions. Guys, I've got about 1 minute left, I think, 1 or 2 minutes. I've got to take my kids, they'll be beating me up if I don't take them to jiu-jitsu and judo. Yep, Benani's City got city clubs in Spain. That's Girona, the US, New York City FC, Australia, Melbourne City, China. I forgot the name of the Chinese. And they got Yokohama Mariners in Japan. They got a stake there, and they got Club Atletico Talk in Uruguay. So we go about 6 or 7. See you, Gary. Take care, guys. I've got to go. I'm sorry if it's not been as long as we'd have liked, but it's a bit rushed because Andy sadly got called away with some work, and he was going to do the vlog tonight, so he's had to dash off for that. So see you, section 20. So I've had to do it. So I've got my kids, so it's just the way it is. Yeah, Rick, that was actually the first part of our agenda, about 4:10. We talked about it. See you, Bernard. Guys, if you've missed stuff, I think it's been a quite interesting chat. Go and have a look at this again. Cheers, Kim. Hope you have a good evening, mate. See you, Abhishek. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope it's been informative. Hope we've covered some areas. Hope you've learned a little bit more about amortization and FFP and why I'm not worried about it. Hope you've learned a little bit more about the potential Super League getting canned, and hopefully you've some good talking points. Cheers. Wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker. Man, you have to change your username because that's hard one to read. See you guys. I think hopefully Andy will be back tomorrow. If not, I'll be on. But I think Andy should be on around 4 o'clock. Yeah, actually, we're finished, mate. I'm just about to finish. But yeah, if you want, as I said, if you want to learn a bit more about FFP and amortization, watch the video from the start. Give it a like if you like it. Tell your mates. Really, really want to get to 10,000 subscribers by the start of the season. So we've got rest of June and July. So we've got something like 2 months to get about 1,500 subscribers. That would be absolutely fantastic. To hit 10,000 before the start of the season would be awesome. Guys, you've been great. I've really enjoyed myself. And see you later, Stephen, Paul Dempster. Cheers, guys. Take it easy. Have a good evening, and see you tomorrow.